Hey, welcome to the Odds Pods Live numero 7. I'm Ben Hennessy.
Numero 7.
Numero 7. Hey. We're counting the live ones now. Yeah, I had to keep track of them somehow, so I figured numbers are
I
good.
like how it's very international, you know?
And numbers?
A
Yeah, I think
little bit
so.
of Spanish, a little bit of English.
Oh, yeah, numero 7. Yeah, I get you. I'm multilingual. This is a multilingual podcast.
That's
Extravaganza.
you, man.
Yeah, that's us. How you doing, Dave?
Cunning linguist. Yeah. How's it going?
Pretty good. Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah.
I think I was just saying to you just before we hopped on, it's been one of those kind of mad dash days. Almost didn't have internet kind of a day. So yeah, it's all right.
Yes, Ben's going to do this by smoke signal.
Yeah, like that's doable, right? I can internet smoke signals, right?
Sure, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, everything's on the internet now. Yeah, that's the crack. That's some very nice lighting on you there, Dave. You look very warm.
Well, I've been struggling with my lighting actually. So yeah, the setup just kind of a few lights around the place.
It's
Can't really see them. See them with my glasses. So.
I have a few lights,
but
it's like a desk light and then a lamp and then like a big light.
Do
you call it the big light as well?
Big light.
Yeah, the big light. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still
don't know my left from my right, but anyway, it's been a busy week since last we met.
It has, and they're only getting busier, aren't they? Usually we check in a bit more, but I kind of feel like we check in just before a pod now and a little bit after a pod, and then we kind of just catch up with the rest of the week.
And we can't stand the sight of each other until the next week. Yeah, no, it has been nuts. But I would say in a good way, but maybe not. I don't know. It's just been one of those weeks.
Yeah, it's always one of those weeks, isn't it?
One of those weeks. But who cares about that? Who cares about my week? Let's talk about someone who's had a worse week.
1 second there, and I queue up these photos.
Oh, go on.
Eating me to the punch.
Look at how slick we are.
Ooh, it's like we're professionals or something. 1, 2, 3, go! Hey!
Well.
Both of them, really. One's kind of had a good week last week.
Back at it like a crack addict. Yeah, per old Hunter, hey? So here's the thing, right? If you go and you buy a gun, you shouldn't be buying guns anyway, but if you go and buy a gun, they ask you when you're buying a gun, apparently, are you a drug addict?
Really?
Yeah. So you have to fill out a form to say whether you're, an addict. And he said no when he was using crack, cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
And they got him on that. Yeah, they got him on that. So, in one way, I'm very glad that, a crack addict has been done for obtaining a firearm illegally. I think the persecution of addicts is something every society should address, really, and try to understand a bit more. And criminalizing those kind of behaviors. I mean, not the gun stuff. The gun stuff's obviously crazy, but criminalizing, that kind of behavior probably isn't the way to fix things. But, the puritanical basis upon which the United States of America was built. Yeah, exactly. Zero crack. Yeah. So, what are you going to do? He faces 25 years in prison for the charges he's been convicted of, which he more than likely will not get. But who knows? Like he's got a tax case coming up as well. So it's 1-1 if we're counting embarrassing court cases.
Yeah, you know what? In the picture, he kind of looks a bit like a hitman.
Yeah. Do you know what? He would if he wasn't carrying that dorky bag.
Kind of looks like it could be like the gun bag. Just.
It wouldn't have a red strap. Come on, let's face it. We've all seen the movies.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I don't know. Is there another country with their presence in the press as often with situations like these? These are a little bit like. It's not like it's a coup. It's not like it's. Well, I guess it was a coup. I think January 6th probably was one of those. but it just feels a
Well,
bit
tempted.
more so more so on the embarrassment end rather than the serious end, if you get me.
It's just sad, really. The whole thing that you know you've got the so-called leader of the free world, um, fighting an election campaign, and he has to worry about this, and then his opponent is jammed up in court with all sorts of stuff. Like it's just there really is very limited choice when it comes to the presidential election this time around.
Just
And
elections in general. I mean, as we talked about last week, we had our elections here in Ireland, local and European, and it's not like we were bowled over with more new choices or different options. It was more of the same.
yes, it's been pretty bad. And the results haven't been great either, like locally or we haven't had many results from the European elections yet, but they're on the way.
Yeah,
And yeah, we'll figure that out next week. We'll have a look at that next week, or well, the week after, because we won't be around next week.
that's
Uh,
right. That's
yeah,
right. We're going dark next week.
someone's going away, but
Yeah, I'll
yeah,
be in Spain with work having
sunning
a.
himself with
That's
a
just it.
pencil in his hand.
I'm assuming going to Spain for work means not working, but I'll find it out when I get there next week.
Sure, it does.
Yeah, but it looks like a blast. But I'll be there, so I won't be here, so I can't do this, and I can't do the fancy draws either. Actually, while we're
Mm,
talking about this,
yeah.
maybe Dave, it might be a good idea on fantasy draws because, as you know, I was doing a week of the odds and then a week
Mm,
of pinup.
mm.
Maybe I'll do an odds pinup or an odds cover over the next couple
Oh,
of
cover
weeks.
would be cool. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
and because
God
I'll be
knows we need
missing
him.
a week, I might see it to completion. So like an actual like cover quality image. So I might get as far as penciling in some inks one day and then finish the inks and maybe
Yeah,
even throw some color on it for the following day, depending on
whatever works,
how
dude.
available Vittorio is. But I think we can make
Mm,
more of an impact on the odds that way too, and not lose any
mm.
time on the odds and not lose any opportunities for pin-ups as well. So yeah,
See, kids, this is how it's done.
this is it. So it's going to be
This is how comics are
the
made.
odds covers. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Well, I guess when there's no race, you fit these things in when you can, but you want to give it your best effort. So come join me on the stream, and I will be talking about my approach the whole lot, cover from start to end.
I
Gives
might
me more
drop in.
crack than this stuff. And what were we talking about before that?
Oh, it doesn't matter. Let's talk about toys. You had a very interesting story during the week.
Toys, sure did. I thought you'd like this. I got sent this via work actually, so out of work into this, and this was the Star Wars figure has broken the record to become the world's most valuable vintage toy. So
Boba
this
Fett.
extremely rare Star Wars action figure has become the world's most valuable toy, sold for a record of $525,000. I'm getting this via Euronews. Thank you,
It's
Euronews.
insane. They
Ooh,
wouldn't lie.
I mean, wow, that's a lot of money for a
Yeah,
little guy.
yeah, yeah. 3 3/4 inches
Yeah.
of choking goodness. So he was banned. He never made it to the shelves or made it to the collectors. Because of that little missile on the back. That was originally meant to shoot out, but due to it being a choking hazard, he got pulled. But there were a few that made it out of the factory into the hands of
Some people.
very safe collectors, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
And we never got to see that missile in action until I think it was until Book of Boba Fett, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And it was
Jeez.
weird because I guess like most of the world, I didn't realize I'd seen so little of Boba Fett, only to have left such a huge impact on me until.
Well, that's a very good point,
Mhm.
right? I don't know if it was the greatest idea in the world to explain Boba Fett or to get as deep into who he is and what he is and what drives him as we are now.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of the 80s. You didn't, because I don't think you were born yet, right? But I spent a lot of the 80s wondering about all that stuff. I mean, whole days, weeks of my summers. I
Mm.
wonder who Boba Fett is. What does he look like on the mask? Is it a mask? Is he a robot? Nobody knew. All we had was a couple of lines of dialogue.
Yeah.
That was it, you know. And now we know far too much about Mr. Fett
Mm,
and the
yeah.
rest of the
Yeah.
Fets. And it's like when I was talking about this earlier it's the nerdiest thing I'll ever say. Well, it's not, but let's face it. But I was talking about this earlier in the comic book store, and and Bruno in the comic book store was like, "Yeah, they explained Wolverine's origins with Logan or with
Robin Origin.
Origin."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was just like, ugh, like nothing that ever makes it into official canon with these mysterious characters is ever going to be better than the story you've built up in your head.
That's true. That's true.
Because you've got 11 different versions of that story in your head. What if
Mhm.
he's this? What if he's that? What if Boba Fett's a Wookiee and we didn't know? He just shaves, What if, And then they tell us, and it's like, oh, well, we're now stuck in that,
Yeah. It has to
canon.
be this thing now.
That it
Yeah.
has to be that thing now, And then they spend years and years and years building all these other things around it to make it interesting. Because really, it's not. Like, when these mysterious characters get explained, they're not interesting. I mean, the most interesting thing about Batman, or the most interesting perspective on Batman, is from a criminal, like a street level criminal's perspective, because he doesn't know what he is. Is it a man? Is it a demon? Is it a bat? What is it? Nobody knows what, from that perspective.
Did you ever see
that's
that
kind
Studio
of
4C short about that? Studio 4C,
no.
the studio in is it where are they based? I think it's Japan. And they did a great take of people seeing Batman. So some kids saw Batman and they thought he was like a living shadow. And then one of the kids goes like, no, I saw Batman in the city and he was definitely a robot. And then someone else thought he was a bat. And really, really great stuff. But the potential of what they could be is greater than, I guess, the reality of what they are.
Yeah, no, I don't really want to know, And the same goes for a lot. So like, there's two things in the original Star Wars movies, I think, that really get your imagination going. One is a mention of the Clone Wars, when Obi-Wan is talking about Anakin Skywalker fighting in the Clone Wars, right?
Yeah.
And he's shown Luke Skywalker the lightsaber, and Luke picks it up and goes, and almost takes his brain out with it, right? But they mention the Clone Wars, they move along. Now, for a good 10 years of my life, I was like,
what's the
Clone Wars? What was the Clone Wars? Why was it fought? What was it about? Why was it called that? And I spent a lot of time trying to find out about that. And you didn't have the internet. It didn't exist. So you had books on Star Wars and magazines, kids, remember them? And that kind of stuff. Very limited resources to find stuff out, but you couldn't find anything out because nobody had written it. It was just a line in a movie, and there wasn't really anything behind it or available then. So your imagination filled in the blanks, and then we got to see the Clone Wars.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I remember being told rumors that like some of the staff involved in the first trilogy had gone on and written their own trilogy of novels, and like the stories were very different. And I remember hearing all these things like for years before, and you go online and find out that it was all made up bullshit.
But it is all made up.
But it sounded great. The potentials again of what these things could be was great.
Yeah. So you had the Clone Wars, and you didn't know what the hell that was, and then you had Boba Fett, in Empire Strikes Back, and you didn't know who the hell he was, but he was really interesting.
Very
cool. Really interesting, and he just benefited from, the frame. Like George Lucas starts it with New Hope, and Irvin Kershner does it with Empire. But like, there's just this this theme throughout all of the Star Wars movies that all of the directors, the subsequent directors since George when he came back,
Hmm.
everyone else says they've just maintained that commitment to framing characters in the screen. Like the framing in those movies is just unbelievable.
Yeah,
And whatever way they framed Boba Fett when you first saw Boba Fett,
it was
it
awesome.
just captured the imagination of billions of kids. Gone,
Do you
who's that
think
guy?
it was that thing? I forget the term of it now. It's in the Scott McCloud book, Understanding Comics, where he talks about anime, how they have very hyper realistic backgrounds with very, very stylized characters, and then it's
Mm.
easy for people to put themselves in that character's positions in this already world that they're familiar with. Um, do you think that because Boba Fett was obviously appeared maybe an android, but possibly a human in a costume amongst all these like lizard people and other obvious
Mm.
aliens, it's like,
Mm.
oh, so you could be a human bounty hunter and still compare with these guys. Is that the allure? That this guy could
Yeah, maybe.
hang
I mean, he's up there in a murderer's row of like Bosk, IG-88,
Yeah.
um, Dengar, Zuckus. You've got all the bounty hunters for alarm. You got all the bounty hunters standing there. And you're like,
Mhm.
who are these guys? And
Yeah.
whatever the angle is on Boba Fett, and the fact that he speaks, and Vader does the
Yeah.
pointy chest thing that Vader does. So you kind of feel like there's a relationship between him and Vader already.
Mhm.
It just in that. I mean, there wasn't. It didn't. It never happened. It didn't exist. There was no one had ever written anything. There have been scores of comic books and
Yeah.
books and since about that relationship. And and that just captured people's imagination. So what's the lesson? I don't know. The lesson is don't over explain.
Yeah. The lesson is like,
Um,
even if you do, I guess, like you sell a little figure for just short of $500,000.
mm,
Maybe that's what we take home from this. Capitalism wins.
yeah, choking hazards. Yay.
Hey, since we're in
Yeah,
the
man.
Star Wars universe,
Oh
why
yeah.
don't we talk about the new show that came out?
Yeah, speaking of over explaining, yeah. There's lots of good things in Acolyte, right? And whenever you hear a review that starts with, well, there's lots of good things, right? And there are lots and lots of good things. There's a different view on the world. It's
Mhm.
set in the I suppose the end of the High Republic
Yeah, yeah,
era, 100 years before the prequels.
yeah,
Um, there's loads of good stuff going on,
yeah.
but I was bored by the whole thing.
I
Like,
liked it.
like, yeah. Tell
I
me
was,
why.
dude, I was like, I think I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting because then I had when I first heard it, I thought it was going to be very different, new stuff altogether, completely something new. And then I heard more and more about it, and it was somewhat relatable to some stuff I'd read or seen. And when it got to that, I didn't know how they were going to put it all together. So as they're putting it
Hmm.
together, I was like, oh, this is fun. This is going to be somewhere along the lines of Ahsoka. I don't think it's going to be a very complicated, um, high risk Andor. This is going to be an enjoyable kind of a show where we see
Yeah.
that kind of constant struggle between the dark and light side of the Force
Hmm.
in this. And the more I kind of look at it, the more I even fell in love with the font for it. How they use like
Hmm.
so there's two twins in the show, and you can see them both here in the acolyte like
Hmm.
name here. We can see Oshi, which means
Hmm.
dark and bitter, and then we have May, who means I believe shiny. So I mean, there's so much little bits that they've really gone in and filled out each character with that I kind of like it. I like the imagery and the whole idea of who isn't our Sith but is our bad guy.
Hmm.
Not using the red lightsaber. Very much able to stick it to any kind of Jedi. The fight with Carrie Ann Moss I thought was brilliant. And those little moments where she keeps calling out the Jedi's for being afraid, I thought were brilliant. I think that's going to be the whole thing going through the show. Um,
Hmm.
Jedi's aren't supposed to draw their sword unless they intend to kill. And almost every time there's a scene with a Jedi running into a room, they immediately take out their lightsaber, and
Hmm.
they're not supposed to do that. So we're immediately seeing that kind of stuff that Anakin called out in the later prequels,
Hmm.
as to why he thought the Jedi Council was a bunch of hooey. He lost faith in it. So I like where
Hooey.
it's going. Yeah, hooey.
Woolpookie.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
I think if you were to pitch me a series about the Catholic Church in the 17th century and
Hmm.
its various regional canons and bishops,
Yeah.
I'd be like, pass. And this is what this is. Like, this is priests in space. And I just, no offense, I'm related to one, but like, I just, again, this goes back to over explaining things. And I think the Jedi are ultimately boring. And we get to a point in, at the very start, we don't even get to a point. We get to, at the very start of this show, they're kind of, they're kind of ruling the roost. They're
Yeah.
much like the Roman Empire, or
Yeah.
what then became the Roman Empire, the Catholic Church, having a garrison in every town,
Hmm.
having
A big temple
a
and court.
presence
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
that's somewhat respected, and and you get that vibe with like Carrie Ann Moss is in her little boozer or whatever, and she's got her buds sitting around and stuff, and you just you're filling in the blanks there, and they're local dignitaries or whatever, and yeah, there was a lot of opportunity in it that I don't think it came good on. I think
I
the
think it was
twin thing was
early days.
totally fumbled.
Yeah.
Like,
Really?
yeah, but I mean, okay, maybe there's more twins to come or something, but like, you, that was the one interesting thing between the two characters, that they could have messed with the audience's head on a bit more, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you've got this one character who's gone around doing these terrible things, or so to speak, and this other character who's apparently innocent,
Hmm.
and you don't actually know from the get-go if it's the same character
Hmm.
because they have the same face, or if it's two different characters, or
Yeah.
what's going on. And they could have strung that out a little bit longer. I think I would certainly try to get more story out of that.
I feel like we've seen that. I kind of feel like once that's been revealed, you get into the story. So they kind of got
But the
into it very
reveal
early on.
was so boring. It was just like, oh, you're alive. Oh, okay, well,
But
I
you
think
kind of
I think we
know.
have to kill you
Oh,
now.
he's
You
a
know?
twin.
Yeah, it was just kind of. I don't know, man. I'll see where it goes. I'll definitely
I think
watch
it's
it.
good, and it's quite like Luke and Leia again. We have more twins in the Force, but one seems to have gone dark.
But why do that again? Why do that again? Um,
Well, that's the
and
whole thing with
then
Jedi, right? That's the whole thing. Because even like back in at the very start of it was a brother and sister.
I don't know. I
All,
think I'm
all
more of a Star Trek guy these days, man. I want to know. I want to know about the way these societies work, and how they develop, and I want to know about, like, I mean, the most interesting thing for me in the show was the mech neck thing. It
yeah,
was like,
that was cool.
okay, hang
Yeah.
on, what's going on there, right? So
Rising of
there's
the
these
droid.
people, these humans who do this work that droids
Hmm.
could do. Why aren't droids doing it? Why are they doing it? Are they indentured servants? What's going on? Why are
Yeah,
they in this position? Does the rest of society look down on them? What's happening here? Are
yeah.
they cheaper than droids? That kind of stuff I'd love to know about. And we're not going to be allowed to see that. Other We're going to be taken to dusty rooms on dusty planets where dusty Jedi are standing around talking,
Yeah,
and
I'm still
I
hoping
hope
for
it
an
picks up.
episode based in the hot system. That'd be great. Ironically,
Yeah.
the coldest system. Yeah, but yeah.
I really hope it all picks up. But yeah, I mean, that last scene in episode 2, that was good, but it
Yeah.
was a bit get off my lawn, wasn't it? It was a bit grumpy Wookie throws a few guys off his garden, you know.
I like,
Um,
yeah, I like a bit of Wookiee action, and I feel this is all this is going to be. This is just going to be fun. That's what I want
doesn't
when
feel like fun
yeah.
though.
No, I like this. I mean, as long as I'm
I'm
getting
going
my
to pitch you a Star Wars story right now, right? I'm going to pitch it.
go for it.
What? All right, if Disney Plus went, okay, you big mouth, what would you do? Here's what I'd
Right?
do, right?
Yeah.
I'd go full Treasure Island. I'd have a kid of whatever race, human, Greedo, whatever. I don't care, whatever it is, right? And he somehow finds himself sold into Jabba's palace
Hmm.
before the fun police came and killed everyone, right?
The fun
And
police.
Jabba's running all the smuggling routes around the galaxy, blah blah blah. And this kid, he's good, and he's sent off on various different runs, whether it's to spy on the smugglers that Jabba's employed or whatever it is. He's he's Jabba's guy, and it's the galaxy and those adventures seen through the eyes of a kid as they're out there doing things they probably shouldn't be doing and learning things they probably shouldn't be learning. And that would be loads and loads of fun, right? And I just don't think there's any fun in Star Wars at the moment. It's like Andor is the best thing they ever did. That's not a fun show.
No.
That's serious. That's really
Yeah.
heavy. There's a couple of moments in Mando, certainly in the early seasons, which are loads of fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say that.
But it starts to get very serious towards where we are now, you know.
What about the Visions, the Star Wars Visions? That's a very fun show.
Yeah, but it like you think look at the, and I'm sure this will bear it out, and really sorry, but the viewership for a live action show is going to be way higher than the viewership for an animated show of shorts.
Yeah.
Like it is, and I just want to make it fun again. It looks amazing. The cast is amazing. Leslie Headland, Russian Doll is one of my favorite shows of the last 10 years. Like, she's amazing. She's brilliant. And she's, in fairness to her, to take on this and this fandom and this everything, it's a lot. And she's a huge Star Wars fan, so it was probably a no-brainer for her.
Because there's so much kind of where she draws from,
so much Charles Soule's comics and Ethan Sachs and Will Sliney, and there's all all that stuff. But right now, I don't think it's off to a good start. I hope it gets better. I did not enjoy that droid that she can pull the head off and use as a screwdriver either. That was weird, man. I didn't like that.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. And it was one of those things where I had sat down with my wife and watched it. I was like, oh, this is good. We won't watch the next one until we're both able to watch it together. So I felt like it had more going for it than I expected. Because when I heard about all these things kind of coming together, I genuinely had no idea what are they going to do with this storyline. I don't really know where it's going to go. But I'm excited to see. I can't wait to see what Vern does. I think there's something very weird going on with her. The bald lady and the bald Jedi. There's some bad stuff. On there.
You think she's a bad guy, bad girl, bad person,
or she's a misinformed good guy? Because in the books and stuff, she looks very different. Big head of blue hair, I think, and is very much a goody. But here I'm not getting that vibe at all.
No.
And I don't know who the Sith could be. I like the costume. I like how it's so ambiguous to what's going on. I like how they're making the Acolyte fight without a lightsaber, and just using the Force. It kind of has this kind of Force ninja about it, which I really like. And it
seems really easy to kill Jedi at the moment.
Maybe, but I guess maybe they've been getting soft. They've had their time. Maybe they've gotten a bit comfortable.
So what do you think? What do you think the big conspiracy is? What do you think that she's Osh's?
I have a feeling that so Keimer, I think. So I have two things, right? So we have two sisters here. I think one of their mums is probably going to be the Sith leader. Or it's Keimer. And I hadn't thought about the Keimer thing until earlier on yesterday.
Which one's Keimer? Is that Manny Jacinto?
That's the sleepy guy, right? The guy who used to be in Good Place.
Yeah, Manny Jacinto, yeah. There's a lot of talk about him online being the Sith.
I think he could be. That's just it. He could be Darth Plagueis. Apparently he was killed in his sleep, likes to sleep. This guy has been sleeping.
Is Darth Plagueis not 6,000 years old or something?
Well, the Sith have all those kind of abilities.
Hmm.
And one of those abilities that Dark Plagueis was potions and poisons, that kind of stuff. This guy has
Okay.
those. There's some real credence to that being. I mean, when I read that, I went, "Oh, it's probably not one of their moms. It's probably this guy." But that was my own take on it.
Yeah,
I think,
Manny's he's a cool actor. Like he's,
yeah,
I'd love to see him go full dramatic evil. You
I
know?
think it'd be great,
Yeah.
and I like the cast in this too. I'm blanking on his name now. I looked up 7 million times just to make sure I got it right for the show, and I've still got it wrong. But the guy from Squid Game. I mean,
Oh yeah,
that's a great cast for him. I
Saul.
immediately feel like
Yeah.
he's a proper wizened teacher. You know,
Hmm.
I like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, I mean the
enjoying the show.
characterizations are brilliant so far. Like all the characters, great, but it's just the
Not grabbing you.
it's the execution of the story. Even if you were to sit down and tell the story, I think you'd be like, oh yeah, cool, you know. But it's I don't know. It's just boring. And yeah, I'll keep with it, and see how because I love Star Wars and see how it goes, and I love some of the concepts we're seeing here. They're
Yeah.
amazing, but like, yeah,
Well, this might just kind of spell out why I liked it, maybe why you don't, because I got some great news over the weekend, Dave.
oh,
Amazing news. I was
what's that now?
delighted. Sometimes stories just don't have to be complicated for me to really enjoy them.
Hmm.
And there's nothing more
Ah,
important than a
yes,
bunch of guys trying to bomb down a big hole, and that's all it was. And
we're getting a prequel.
we not only are we getting the pre, we're getting the game I've talked to you about. Going, why don't they just do Emergence Day game?
Yeah, yeah.
We're getting the E Day game. The trailer was brilliant. It was Marcus Phoenix going toe to toe with a massive locust,
Is
and then
Kiefer back?
in.
Is Kiefer back, or is he gone for good?
I'll have to wait and find out. I don't know what's going on. I
Hmm.
wasn't expecting this. I thought Gears was going to follow what we had just been doing in the latter series with old Marcus Phoenix. This came out of nowhere.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's great, isn't it? Because like,
Yeah,
if it had done it like a Gears 6, Marcus would be 70 or something, and
and he's still fighting the locusts, and he's still
yeah,
carrying a fridge on his back.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
probably got
yeah,
7 hernias, but he's still going.
yeah.
Yeah. But I can't wait for this. It looks everything like I wanted it to be in that first game where there was that trailer where it was Marcus just shooting line after line of locusts coming out of the ground now, and he's on his own. And we're kind of wondering, well, as soon as he needs to reload, he's done for. This is that moment. We get to see that play out here.
Who among us hasn't been there? Yeah,
What?
yeah. Who among us hasn't been there? But it's a game that's very close to my heart. Like I got my first Xbox when I just come home from surgery, which had gone disastrously wrong, and I tore an artery during. Well, I didn't do it. The surgeon did. Tore an artery during the surgery, and I bled out. And what was meant to be a fairly pedestrian day at the hospital turned into weeks and weeks and weeks of recovery and 96 staples and
Oh,
all sorts of bits and pieces. So anyway, I eventually got home and I got a present. My lovely wife got me a present of an Xbox because I was sitting around. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
And Gears of War was the first game I played on it,
nice.
and I got stuck into that for ages. Um, so yeah, and it's a game, and it's a game that I've stuck with, or a series that I've stuck with as well. It's like even the last one was great.
Last one was fantastic. That
Yeah.
free roam element was not something I expected out of a Gears game. I thought it was be very much you man, you throw a bomb down hole.
Hmm.
But it's still the best. I still loved it.
Quite liked all that kind of sailing around on the snow. That thing
That
in
was
the
beautiful.
last one was great. Yeah, yeah,
Um,
loved it.
but yeah, I'm surprised we're not following that story to its end. I thought we'd do that first if we ever got an E Day, and here we
Oh,
are with
what's
an
the
E
end of Gears of War like? What is it? It's
We're going to get more, right? Because I
yeah.
mean, like they're not nearly close to finishing the story that started, and now we're
Hmm.
getting the one. I guess it's a bit of a Wolverine moment, Wolverine origins, right? We're going to find that origin. We're going to get that moment of what happened and how Marcus and Dom became mates, I guess. And yeah, I can't wait. I was so
Yeah, I
happy.
don't. You know what? I don't mind this being explained because it's never been an issue for me. I've never worried about that once. You know,
Mm,
and you don't because the way it's set up is you're looking forward all the time. You're never looking back with a game like that because you
yeah.
have to go forward. So yeah, this will be cool. When's it out?
Oh, I don't think there was a date put out yet. But I mean, I didn't even know they were working on it. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's just that
was this
happy.
in the Ubisoft thing?
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I used to think it was. I don't think there was another one
yeah,
on this weekend, so it must have been part of that. I just
yeah,
assumed.
yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm very happy. And then I got some other happy news today as well.
Oh, it's a boy. What you get?
Oh, it's a girl, I guess.
Yeah, yeah,
Did you
yeah.
hear they've done an episode count? So
Oh yeah,
season
no,
two is
come on.
coming out. It's going to have 7 episodes. So it
Right.
will be. I think the first season was 9. There's only
Yeah.
going to be 7, but they've said the third season, so they're definitely looking ahead, will be a massive season because
Oh
the second
right.
will be quite short. But more news. I think if they finish filming in August, and then it goes to
Okay.
pre-production. So maybe late next year. That'd be
Yeah.
kind of cool. Yeah,
So we
yeah.
got Abby.
We do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Played by Dever, isn't it? Dever?
Yeah.
Dever?
Caitlin
Dever?
Deaver.
Caitlin
Um,
Dever.
I wonder if yeah. I don't know. Should we? Everyone knows what happens, right? We can talk about this.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why
So,
not?
do you think he makes it through those 7 episodes? Because if there's going to be a massive third season,
I think this is a good
I'd
one.
say it's all 7 episodes. I'd say he's in all 7 episodes and then bows
I
out at the
would.
end.
That's a good question. Maybe you'll have a call here. Do you think he's going to make it all the way to episode 7?
Yeah, he might die in episode 1 though, but
Yeah.
then we're
You
flashbacking the
know how
whole
that
way
is.
through.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say we might get 5 or 6 episodes out of him in continuity, and then
Mm,
maybe flashbacks to something else.
mm,
If we're going to go this way with a massive third season, um, but they did say they're going to drift a little bit and wander and explore things that aren't in the game as well.
mm.
And kind of like I guess what they did in the first season. You know, they
Yeah, that's
didn't.
all right. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, very excited. I mean,
Have we
sounds
got
great.
a, have we got a date?
They didn't give us a date because they only said that they're only like finishing filming. So I'm
Yeah.
guessing late next year or maybe
Yeah, it's
early
going to be a
20.
year of
Yeah,
post, isn't there? So yeah,
easily.
no, I can wait. I
Yeah,
hope.
well worth the wait. I mean,
Yeah.
it's great to see them do this. It sounds
Mm,
different, which was what they did in the first season. So it sounds like that writer strike hasn't slowed them down much, or they haven't had to
mm.
pull punches. They can still do what they want. And I think it's a good thing when these guys get to do what they want. Druckmann and Mason
Sweet.
can keep going. Yeah,
Yeah. Joel's looking extra angry there.
yeah.
What else we got, dude?
We got another announcement. This
Ding,
one's quite
ding,
close to both of us.
ding.
So it's coming out in November. The trailer was out. Trailer looked incredible. But what
Yeah,
they have said is this is it. There's no more League of Legends Arcane after this. There might be
that's
something
okay. No,
else.
I'm okay with that.
Well, it sounds great. I mean, the high stakes. I mean,
Hmm.
I think it doesn't really get much more apocalyptic than what we saw season 1 end.
Yeah,
So to see where to go after this now is going to be great. What happens to Piltover? What happens to Jinx? What happens to V? To Vi even? Like I can't wait. This is something I've loved. Um,
it's one of the
uh,
best looking shows I think I've ever seen.
yeah, they got
Yeah.
but even the best written. The writing is so good.
Mm,
I never played the game before. I knew nothing about the characters.
mm,
But the show, I think I was sick when it was on, so I
mm.
just got to sit down and enjoy it, and it was just brilliant. So
It was a big
yeah,
COVID show, all right.
November's
Yeah,
going to be good. Like this is going to be a hell of a show. I don't even know how many episodes are going to be in it, but I
yeah.
mean, did you see the trailer?
No,
Go check it out. It's very good.
yeah, no. I've had bugger all time to see trailer. The only trailer I saw in the last week was the Venom one, and it was terrible. So,
I didn't watch the
um,
trailer. Yeah. You were mentioning that. Like, so Venom is coming again, right?
yeah, it's called The Last Dance. Don't know why. Is it a reference to Michael Jordan? Who knows? But it's yeah, it's start. So the trailer. There's a scene in the trailer which kind of disarms everything that was set up in the last movie.
Like what?
So where there was that little piece of venom left on the
Mhm.
bar, remember
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
And so he was in one universe and he went back into the other and then left a little droplet of venom behind him. Well, the trailer, some dude shows up, some army dude shows up and
Oh, very good.
sucks up the thing and then heads back to their Earth or whatever. So it's like, no, not doing this here. Bye, and he's gone.
Really?
And yeah. Well, that's it's a trailer, so who knows? But
Okay.
um, yeah, that's in there.
Oh, that kind of takes away the interest in that moment, doesn't it? It kind of just nukes it.
a little bit. Yeah, it kind of come on, Sony, grow a pair.
Yeah. I mean,
Do it.
they've done
It
enough
works. It's
people
been
care.
proved to work. Just do it. But yeah, look, we'll see. I could be totally wrong, but it's
Probably
rare.
not. Probably not
Um,
wrong. If they've done that, that sounds like the move we think it is.
bit
That's
of a cop out.
disappointing. Was it just like a
Yeah.
15-second kind of a thing or a 30-second kind of a thing, or is this like a proper
No, it's like
trailer?
a 2-minute trailer. Yeah. There's tons of stuff in it. None of it's interesting. Like, I think Tom Hardy's one of the most interesting actors out there,
Yeah.
and this is not an interesting looking movie.
It lost me after the first one.
Yeah,
I
it's a
didn't see
one
it.
trick pony.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a lot of '90s comic book characters. It's
Yeah.
it's a metaphor for rage, or it's a siphon of male angst, and a cipher for that kind of stuff, and as was comics in the '90s, but we don't really need that stuff now. I mean, the classic stuff works because that was for everyone, and the more modern stuff works as well. I mean, speaking of which, like Criminal,
Yeah.
like
I was not
the
aware that
news
you
coming out
sent me
about
a
that.
link before we came on, and the cast.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
So there's a ton of the trade paperbacks in the background there.
Yeah.
But like Sean Phillips and Ed Brubaker's Criminal, just get it, just read it, just get it. If their name's on anything, if it's on a milk carton, just buy it and read it, because
It's gonna be good
it's going
milk.
to be the best milk carton you've ever gotten. I just over the weekend I reread this one. Like, they put these things out and they just put out one-offs, little one-off where the body was.
Oh yeah.
Just read it. It's an amazing murder mystery book. They're just the best duo in comics today, for the last 10 years. And now they've got a TV show on Amazon based on Criminal, and the cast looks phenomenal.
So when is this coming out? Because this is completely passed me by. Like I
It's
didn't know.
it's going into production. It's only in early kind of production now. So it'll be a while, but yeah, it should be great. But you know what? The comics will always be better. So go buy the comics.
Yeah, go
Read
buy
the
the
comics.
comics. Yeah, it really help the creators if you do that
Yeah.
too. It's more money for those guys.
Yeah, big time.
That we can
Big
watch.
time.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
yeah,
And they couldn't be nicer, those guys. They're just amazing. Top of their game and really nice to everyone. And
yeah.
just dead sound. Yeah.
There was something else you want to talk about.
Hey, there she is.
Did you give it a chance to read after? Did you enjoy it?
Here she is.
There it is. There it is.
That's the Joelle Jones variant cover.
Joel Jones is unreal.
I mean, can she draw or what? Yeah, it's great. It's like it's just like an unending homage to various different, like, look at that. Spy-fi kind of bits and pieces. I'm not gonna show you the whole book, because you got to go out and buy it and read it and tell us what you think. But I'll give you a little taster. We were talking about like Wolverine and stuff earlier. Do you remember the Frank Miller, Chris Claremont Wolverine series, the first Wolverine series? And they did a trade. They collected it all around, I suppose, around 1985, 1986. And Frank did a new cover for that. Yeah. And it was Wolverine surrounded by the hand.
Mm-hmm.
And the ninjas were just like cutting bits out of him. And I think he had a chain through his teeth and everything. But like, look at this. Look at this. How amazing is that? Marco Ferrari, you legend. So there's loads of ninjas in this, and it's brilliant. And just get it. And it's great. And I wrote a little pilot show ages ago, little pilot script for a G.I. Joe show. And I ended it with pretty much the last scene in the show is the last image in this comic. And I'm like, yeah, it's there because it works. I figured out that it works. Kelly Thompson figured out that it works. And it works, and it's great. And then the other book,
before we go,
that was
what is the word they could read that script? It's on your site, right?
Oh, it's on my website. Yeah, you'll find it on their TV stuff or whatever. And the other book that came out last week that everyone was banging on about was The Ultimates, issue 1 again.
Is it good?
It's really good. It's a big world builder. You know, it's Dennis Camp, your friend of mine, writing it, but kind of under the watchful eye of Mr. Jonathan Hickman, who loves a map.
Nice.
So we've got a Hick map there, and it's everything it should be. Juan Frigeri, Dennis Camp, everything looks amazing. It's a retelling again of the Avengers through another universe where they were actively prevented from ever becoming heroes, and the genie's out of the bottle on that one. So they're trying to bring the age of heroes back to their universe. And that's where the current Ultimate Spider-Man is, and the current Ultimate X-Men. So it's an Ultimate Universe, but it's not the Ultimate Universe that we knew before back in the early 2000s. It's not the Mark Millar Ultimates, the Brian Hitch Ultimates. It's a whole new thing. I think it could be revealed to be something else. Again, I don't know. but it started off really strong.
It turns out there's that universe again.
Come on, who knows?
And Ultimate Spidey is just a great read. I think I'm an issue behind now. I'm almost caught up.
It's just written for middle-aged men. Really sorry, folks, but that's who it's for.
Yeah,
everyone can enjoy it, but you know, only middle-aged men will cry reading it. You know, Jonathan Hickman, he just knows who I am. He just, you know.
I can understand that. What
else we got?
We got a few things. I think we should keep it the fun stuff. Remember this guy?
Yes. So I got home today, and there was a little note from Jeff, the postman, who I went to school with.
Hey, Jeff.
Saying, in the green bin. And in the green bin was my Cobra Ferret.
Nice.
Complete with Cobra Ferret, pilot, driver, type lady. Look at that.
Like, there's a lot going on here. Like, it's an
ATV, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Let's open her up. So
a live unboxing.
Yeah. Live unboxing. You can't even see the box though. There's the box, there's the knife, here's the tape. We get paid millions now for this, right? Because it's an unboxing.
That's it.
Should we get a baby or something to do it, and then we'll get even more money?
Like, give a baby a knife. I mean, who wouldn't join in to watch that? You know,
fun.
Yeah, I mean, give him a gun when he's at it. You know, ask Country for one of his guns. Yeah.
They started doing these a while ago, right? So all the gear that a character gets comes in a locker.
Oh, cool!
What is that? Little cardboard locker thing, you know. Anyway,
cool.
I take mine out of the box because I'm not a psychopath. Let's see. My box. This is what it looks like on the inside. You got to build your ferret. That's ferret lady there. Yeah, we'll do that later. Anyway,
there's a lot in that. There's a lot to put together there. I'm not surprised because there's so many guns.
There's a bit to put together. Yeah. That big gun at the back that can be lifted off and used as a 50 cal.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, plastic! You're so good to me. And today the pre-orders for the shiny faced Cobra Commander went up, just in case, Joe fans. So get stuck into Hasbro Pulse for them because they're going to sell out. Speaking of Hasbro Pulse,
yeah, good segue.
There's a new HasLab up there, the Star Wars HasLab. It's a vintage collection.
Nice.
of the Cantina, the Mos Eisley Cantina. So if you ever wanted to own a bar of your action figures,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they have
here
to
you
go
go.
somewhere, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a massive choking hazard, this bar, though. I mean, it's
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yet it's a snip at only $469.99 and not $523,000. Um,
Yeah.
I was kind of disappointed with it. Right, I would never buy it anyway because I don't collect the vintage collection. I don't collect Star Wars figures.
There's only so
But
much to collect, I guess, though. I mean, if you go
there's
down
only
the
so much
Star
for
Wars
him.
whole, it's a big one. You're collecting all kinds of everything. Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole other house. Like
Yeah.
really, when you think about it, right? But um, it's cool. Yeah, but it's it doesn't have a floor, so it's all
Mm.
modular.
Yeah.
So whatever surface you put it on, that's the floor. And they could have stuck some lights into it. There could have been some diodes or something in there, some LEDs. And they didn't do that. And I just thought for the price, it's a bit, you
It's a
know,
bit pricey. Yeah, it's a
bit
bit pricey.
pricey.
Not something I would have thought about the floor, etc. Actually, now that you pointed out, I'm like going, oh yeah, it doesn't
Mm.
have a floor, and it's like nearly 500 quid. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's a
no
bit.
lights, and no,
Yeah.
and it has like the droid scanner at the door on the way. That would have been so cool if it had a little LED in there, a little red
Yeah.
LED. Scan your droids, and they like all of the tables have little table lamps, but they could have stuck an LED in them. You can buy LEDs from, but like, what's the point? One
I
of the
hope
guys
they
from
can play
Hasbro was
the
on
radio,
Instagram.
a little Bluetooth set where they play the song though.
Yeah,
That'd be all right. Yeah.
yeah, some jizz music as they call it.
Hey,
Jesus.
they
Anyway,
really
no,
think about
honestly,
that one.
like
Yeah.
they didn't think that one through. But there you go. That's them. Speaking
Yeah.
of all things Hasbro,
Yeah.
have we got a little update on the Kickstarter?
Ooh, I didn't manage to get one before we go on. I missed it. Have you? Were you
All
on?
right, so yeah, so the GI Joe Real American Hero Kickstarter is now up to 1.9 million euros,
Oh, we had
which
said it's
is
going to break the two. It's definitely going to break two at this stage.
insane. Well, it's broken $2 million. The record for a comic book on Kickstarter is Colleen Doran's adaptation of Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett's Good Omens, and that's $3 million. And
3 million.
we've still got 2 weeks of GI Joe to go. So I think GI Joe might beat it.
Yeah, because it'll be slow going for the next week, but then at the last few days, there's always quite a lot of money thrown into something like this. So yeah, you could see this
Yeah.
break the record. Yeah, yeah, I could see that happen. Jesus,
Who knew?
that people are given the stuff they want, they show up for it. That's good to see.
Give nerds what they want.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a good business model, man.
maybe give them what they want and not what they need.
Oh,
Yeah.
little did we know that A logo
Oh, Dave, yes.
would become a symbol of fear and hatred and oh my god.
Yeah.
What have they done, Ben? What have they done?
I thought it was very funny. I couldn't really believe it. I was told about this on Saturday. I think news came out about it on Friday.
Yeah.
And basically, there was an update to the terms of use if anyone using any Adobe product. And it clarified that we may access your content through both automated and manual methods, such as for content review. So
Is it though?
So basically, now they've backpedaled on this today. I'll get to that in a second. But for the last couple of days, they've basically been telling us that whether you save your stuff on the cloud, whether you're under NDA or whether you haven't saved it to the cloud, or it could just be in your Photoshop profile.
Yeah.
They have permission to just go and look at it and use it if they need to. That's how this comes across as. It's quite vague. It's not specific enough that. I mean, they're not saying outright that they're doing the bad stuff, but it certainly looks that way. And with everyone kind of leaving or trying to leave Insta, they didn't leave Insta. They're all still there. They're just on Cara as well. As we said last week, what happened. These guys have gone and given themselves more bad press by kind of going this route of we're going to use your stuff to train our AI without your permission. We're going to do it regardless of your NDAs and things, where you have to keep these things copyrighted and quiet
Yeah.
because you're all using our product. And
Yeah.
unbelievable stuff. Like, just when I heard about it on Saturday, I thought it was a mistake. Couldn't believe it. And then I heard this got posted where we have to see the terms of use, and actually what they were saying. And what they've said today was pretty interesting. It was a total change from what this says here, right here.
Yeah.
They've gone and said, we didn't mean it this way. We meant it this other way. Um, so they said areas of clarification within our terms of use. All right. You own your content. Okay?
Thanks.
Your content is yours and will never
Cheers.
be
Yeah, we know. Yeah.
a generative AI tool. We will make it clear in the license grant section that any license granted to Adobe to operate its services will not supersede your ownership rights.
Cool. But
Yeah.
that's not the issue, is it?
There's more.
All right.
We don't train generative AI on customer content. We are adding this statement to our terms of use to reassure people that it is a legal obligation on Adobe Firefly is only
Mm.
trained on a data set of licensed content with permission, such as Adobe stock and public domain content where copyright has expired. Now, there's a weird thing in there. Adobe Firefly is trained on the same materials as Midjourney, and
Yeah.
that was trained on material that they didn't have permission. I believe by up to like 20,000 artists were used
Yeah.
against their will, want, or know-how. So Firefly is in on that. That's what they're referring to as public domain. It's not public domain. So
Mm.
there's that one. You have a choice to not participate in a product improvement program. One of those things, tick the box, whatever. Fuck,
Oh yeah.
yeah. The licenses we require to operate and improve our products on your behalf should be narrowly tailored to the activities needed. There's a whole load of stuff. I won't bore everyone. I'll be a while reading through the whole lot, but they've backpedaled it somewhat so that they'll probably keep all their customers, because Adobe are they're the program everyone uses everywhere. I can't see the likes of, as we just discussed, like Lucasfilm or Epic or anyone
Yeah.
being okay using this if Adobe are saying we're going to do what we want with your stuff, no matter
They
what the hell.
literally can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you've got a window into NDA'd content, like what's the
Yeah.
point? What's the use? Like,
It makes no sense for them to put this
mm,
out. It is crazy. I don't know if I put it in the pack because I think I found it kind of late. So I'm going to put a link on our Insta. And what I did find was, let me just link this up if I can credit the person properly. But there's an individual who has put up a link to find Adobe alternatives that do the same stuff. So if you use
mm,
Photoshop, use links to Photoshop alternatives, Illustrator alternatives, Animate, InDesign, etc., all the way through. So you can find out like what you need to go to if you want to avoid going down this route.
there goes our Adobe sponsorship. But yeah, cool.
But like, I mean, there you go. I mean, in 5 days, they hurt themselves massively.
Yeah,
Like,
but not as much as Rishi Sunak legging it from a D-Day event to do an interview for the benefit of the election and leaving his foreign secretary to act as a stand-in for the photo. It's like, oh man, that was just like the biggest self-own of the year. I think goes to him.
yeah, I
Like, you
can't think
think
that
you,
could be
you
this
think
year.
this is a branding nightmare for Adobe? Like, the Tory party's absolutely screwed. But yeah, they
But
had a
they've gone from
time.
one disaster to the next over there, though. It hasn't been a good time over that side
Oh,
of
it's a
the
comedy of errors. It's great crack. I'm really enjoying it. Yeah.
yeah, you're enjoying it, yeah.
Oh yeah.
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 Who we got here?
I
Oh,
just kind of feel this is where like the
veterans.
AI guys are going to bring us. This is from the Animatrix, where
Mm.
they, use robots to take over all the jobs people don't want. None of those jobs was drawing or writing or anything, though. It was all kind of
No, it should be. It should be all the boring stuff, shouldn't it? And then and then we should be allowed to, wander about like poets
Yeah,
and artists and thinkers, and that's the Roddenberry view of the universe, isn't it? That's where we get to after the terrible nuclear wars, etc.
yeah. There's something I wish it could help with though. I mean, it would be so good if like it was programmed to spot things I needed to edit, right? So something simple like tangents, right? Like it would be great.
Yeah.
I missed them, and I could run a thing through it, going, Ben, this hand is tangenting with this, I don't know,
Mm,
corner over here. Fix
mm,
that. These kind
yeah.
of things. It would be great to have that, as opposed to like what I usually do is I give it a day, I come back with some fresh eyes, and I spot the mistakes. And I
Mm,
say this all the time on my stream. I think I do a tangent sweep, and I think I do a line weight sweep, and then 20 minutes after I've done the stream, I'm like, missed that, and I missed that, and I'll have to fix that before I put it up. And I mean,
mm.
there's potential for these things to be doing things even in the art that could help artists, as opposed
But
to.
you're saying that, right,
Mhm.
as a seasoned pro, okay, who's done thousands and thousands and thousands of hours at his drawing board. It's the up and comers, the fresh artists, the new kids who are starting to learn how to draw,
Yeah.
who haven't got that experience, who then will never benefit from that experience because there'll be a program there to do it for them. So they'll never know by whether they're drawing tangents onto their pieces or not, because
They might not know
they
what
just
the word tangent refers to. That's exactly the
well,
point.
yeah, but they just won't have that experience of looking at a piece and going, oh, that's wrong, because the AI will have picked it up and gone, yeah, no, you need to do this, or will have done it for them, and that kind of diminishes their skills then.
It does, and this is the thing I'd like to talk about it, because like I don't think this is the big bad wolf. I think this is something that could be used to help everyone, but it's just
Mm,
not been put in that way whatsoever. I mean, there's so many things it could really help with regarding the process,
mm,
and it's like as some of the AI I see now like is riddled with tangents.
mm.
Um,
Oh
um,
yeah, it's bad. It's just bad art. Like it's just shocking.
but it could be good, right? But I think it needs to be done in the right way, and I think it needs to be done with permission. And I
Mm.
don't think it needs to be done with Adobe doing it like because they want to or all your stuff, and it doesn't need to be done with
But I think what
infinite.
you're talking about two different things, aren't you? You're talking about generative AI, and then you're talking about an AI tool that helps you when you're working on a piece. Yeah.
I
So
think,
it's
but I think that's where they need to come together. I think if it's removing one element that it can't really get right, not all
mm,
the way, because it's weird, like because it's somewhere between a master and a first year student in college,
yeah.
right? Like, it's somewhere in the middle there, and that's a weird thing to say about anything, because there's that's such a huge gap. Like there's such a
Yeah.
weird amount of things that can go wrong in between there, and those things are going wrong. Um, but like I think there's real potential for this to help, and it's not been put in that light at all. It's
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
much the race to the end as opposed to the journey. And I think if it was more focused on the process of the journey, it would be an incredible tool.
Mm,
Um, just to shift gears a little bit. I think it would be really, really
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're an incredible tool, and that's probably a good place to end it.
Yeah. Yeah. Hang on, I need to get a banner going. I won't be quick enough. Yeah. That's it. I'm gonna leave it on this little happy note here because
Yay! Things to look forward to.
I'm so unbelievably excited about this.
Giant hole in the ground full of worms.
This is it. I can't wait. Can't wait.
That's where we're going.
So, thanks for joining in, folks.
Yeah.
We're on the Odds Pods on pretty much all the platforms. We will be dark next week. We will be back the following week, Tuesday. We have some fun stuff actually coming up in a couple of weeks.
Do we? What fun stuff do we have coming up?
Oh, I can't talk about it just here. You know about it. We
Oh, I do.
and
I'm just teasing.
yeah, it's good. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
And you can find me at Benessing on pretty much all the socials. You can find Dave at Dave N Hendrick and Dave Hendrick on all the socials, correct?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty much.
You know,
Right.
wherever good GI Joes are sold.
You just gonna go play with your toys now?
Pretty much, yeah, man.
All right. Well, we won't keep you waiting. Thanks a million, everyone. We'll see you
It's
again
been great.
next time. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.